2026 is shaping up as a turning point for South African companies under pressure. From high-profile JSE delistings to a growing pipeline of distressed firms across multiple sectors, the message is clear. Denial is no longer an option. Business rescue is no longer a last resort. It's becoming a strategic tool to preserve value, protect jobs and attract fresh capital. To unpack why this year marks a fundamental shift in how corporate distress is handled, we're joined by Dr. Levenstein, who's the Director and Head of Insolvency and Business Rescue at Worksman's Attorney. Thank you very much for joining us this morning, Doctor. So recent delistings like Marion Roberts and PSV Holdings have grabbed headlines. What do these exits tell us about the broader state of corporate health in South Africa?
Yeah, thanks, and good morning to everybody. I just wanted to say that the liquidation statistics that were published last year by Stats South Africa reflected in the period January to November 1,434 companies going into liquidation. So the real question must be, when you look at those kind of numbers, how many of those companies have they had got professional help, brought in restructuring advisors such as a business rescue practitioner? Maybe those companies could have been rescued. And I think it comes down to directors understanding the process of business rescue. It's something which remains foreign to many directors. I think it's an issue of education. But the more companies that embrace the restructuring option, I think we're going to see more companies being rescued, hopefully in 2026.
Business rescue has long been seen as a sign of failure in a business. What's changed in 2026 that's pushing boards to engage earlier and more proactively?
I think the more we talk about business rescue on forums like this and in the media, the better. I think that directors need to understand that if they take on too much, they themselves might be looked at or scrutinized, and there might even be personal liability consequences for directors who don't get outside help earlier in the rescue cycle, or let's say the distress cycle. Many companies leave it far too late, so when the business rescue practitioner is eventually appointed, there's nothing much left to rescue. So I do think the more we talk about business rescue, the more directors embrace the process, the more opportunity we will see for companies going through a restructuring process, potentially selling their companies to third parties. We've seen examples of this like eNCA. South African Airways continues to fly after going through a business rescue process some years ago. So there are, I think, there is an uptick in director education, which is very, very important.
You've spoken about the cost of denial. Practically speaking, what value is destroyed when companies delay restructuring until liquidity has completely dried up?
Well, if a company leaves the rescue process too late, they're only faced with one option, and that's liquidation. That would be the end of the life of the company. A liquidator would be appointed. He or she would sell off assets at best and render some kind of dividend to creditors, often even zero, because the secured creditors might take all of what's available for distribution. But in a rescue, if you get in early enough and there's some value in the company, with consultation between the business rescue practitioner and all stakeholders, including shareholders, creditors, and where creditors will accept a compromise in the debt that's owing to them, you might very well find a much better outcome for those creditors supporting the business rescue in the South African Chapter 6 process. And I think we've got really good business rescue practitioners operating in South Africa. We've seen some big companies go into rescue and are currently being rescued, such as Marion Roberts. The South African Post Office is going through a rescue process, and there are others. So I do think it's about understanding how it works. Chapter 6 is complex. I think directors and boards need to get proper advice from their auditors, from their attorneys, and certainly from a business rescue practitioner.
Thank you so much for your time this morning. That is Dr. Levenstein, who's the Director and Head of Insolvency and Business Rescue at Worksman's Attorneys, joining us this morning. Let's take a look.